This is HTML tables and color. Tables are very useful in arranging in HTML, and they are used very frequently by almost all web developers. Tables are just like spreadsheets, and they are made up of rows and columns. I believe you understand what a table, what refers to as table. Even in the course of your word processing, like Microsoft Word, you make use of table. So you can create a tables in HTML by using the table tag. Inside the table tag, we have the row, which is what referred to as the tr tag, and also there are column, which we refer to as the td tag. So let's try an example. So before we try these examples now, let's try to log in into our FTP. So www directory. So let's create a new file and name it table.html. So let's copy and run this code. Let's paste it. So you will discover something now. This is the open tag of a table. This is a table open tag, and this is the table closing tag. Can you see? So a table, that's why we tell you that a table is, you can create a table by making use of the table tag. So right now this table now has an attribute of it has one attribute, and that attribute is what is border, and that border has a value of what, of 1. So these are attribute border, and the value of that attribute is 1. I will explain what this one, what it means, but for the course of this tutorial now, let's just talk about how to create a table. This is a table now, and I've told you that in a table, tr represents the rows. That's what they refer to as the table rows. Tr, it represents the rows. How many TRs do you see in this table now? This is open tag of table, and this is a closing tag of table. You will discover that this is still our open tag, and tr closing tag is here, making one row. And there is another tr here, open tag, and it is closed here, making how many tr now? We have 2 table row. That means we are going to have 2 rows in this table. So I've already told you that tr represents rows, while td represents columns. So we have, I've told you, whenever everything that has open tag always have a closing tag. So if you have tr now, then this tr must have a closing tag of tr. So tr open tag and tr closing tag makes they make up of 1 rows. So if we have another tr open tag and tr closing tag, making how many rows now? 2 rows. So if you look at this code now, this is 1 row and this is the second row. So in this table now we have 2 rows. But now look at it, in the first row, in this first row now, how many td do we have? This is 1 td and this is the second td. Note, you can't say because this one is td open tag and this one is td closing tag, making 2. No, I've told you everything that has opening must have a closing in HTML, although there are some exceptions. So right now this is 1 td and this is the second td. So that means in this row now, in this single row now, we have how many columns? We have 2 columns. After the td represents columns. So in this row now, we have how many columns? We have 2 columns. Per this second row, what do we have? We have how many columns? We have 2 columns. So meaning in this first row it has 2 columns, while this second row has what? Has 2 columns. So that means there are 2 rows, and there are 2 rows in this table, row 1, row 2. So each of these row has 2 columns. So let's run this code now and see. Let's run this source code and see the output. So let me go to my website. So what's the name of the file? The name of the file is table.html. Table.html. Can you see now? This is the first row. Can you see this is the first row, and how many column did it has? This is column 1 and this is column 2. This is column 1, and that's why you see this is row 1 column 1. Let's go back to the source code. Can you see this one now? This is the row 1, this is the first row, and this is the second row. So in the first row now, the first column is column 1. That's why we said row 1 column 1. Then in this first row, this same first row, you have column 2, and that's why we say row 1 column 2. So right now what do you have? We have row 1 column 1, row 1 column 2, and this is row 2 column 1 and row 2 column 2. So this first row has how many column? It has 2 column, and this second row also have how many row? Column. It has 2 column. So if let's now say I want to edit this code now, I want to add another third row. So all I just need to do is introduce another tr, then end with tr. So this one also must have 2 column, td and td. The first column, then the second column, td, and closing tag of td. So right now this third row now has how many column? It has 2 column. But in between the column, I've not put anything inside it. I've not asked the code to display anything. So in this one now, let me ask it to display this is first column. So here now, let me ask it to display this is second column. So let's save this and let me refresh my web page. Can you see now? This is the first column and this is second column. So this is row 3. So the first tr is row 1. This row. The first tr is row 1. This row. And the second tr is row 2. The middle one. And the last one is row 3. So if I want to add another row, all I just need to do is introduce another tr and the closing tag, and introduce the tr and td. So just know tr stands for row, while td stands for what? It stands for tr stands for row, while td stands for the column. Table draw. So back to the attribute of table now. I told you that this table now have an attribute of what? Of border, and the border has value of 1. What we refer to as border, I believe you already know what a border means. Each of this table now, this table that we have here right now, has a border. The thickness of this boundary is what referred to as border. This boundary, the thickness is what referred to as border. Can you see the thickness? So let me increase this one to 3. That means I gave it border, the value of this border I gave it 3. You will discover that the thickness of this boundary is going to increase. Can you see? It has increased. So let me change it to, so that you will see it clearly. Let me change it to maybe 30. Let me use 30. Can you see the thickness? So boundary, the thickness of the boundary is what referred to as the border. So you can increase it, you can increase it. So let me change it to 0. So 0, it means the border thickness is going to reduce. You want to reduce it to 0, to value of 0. But it's possible you didn't use the thickness, you didn't use the border thickness. So if you didn't use the attribute border, then that means it's going to give it a default border value of what? Of 0. So that means anytime you want to give a table a border of 0, then the best thing is don't use the attribute border. So it's going to give it a default value of border of 0. But anytime maybe you want to give a border like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you can introduce the border. So you can introduce the border attribute. So the more you increase the value, 1, 2, 3, the more you increase the value, the more thick, the more you have the thickness. So the more you increase the border value here, the more thickness that the border boundary is going to be, the more the thickness that you are going to have in the border boundary. So let's go to the next So right now the next section is the table heading, the th element. Normally table heading can be defined using the th tag, the th element. This tag will be put to replace the td, which is used to represent actual data. Normally you will put your top row as table heading as shown below, otherwise you can use the th element at any place. What we are just trying to say is that normally I've told you about the table row, which is tr is used for rows in table, and td is used for the table drawing, that is the column. Td is used for the column. But another thing that you can use, you can interchange td with ch. What I'm trying to say is that instead of using td, you can make use of th. It is almost the same thing. So let's just run this code and see an example. We discover that even by merely looking at this code, how many rows do we have? This is the first row, this is the second row, and this is the third row. We have 3 rows in this table. Then how many columns do we have? I've told you that td is column. td, whenever you see td, it means column. But in this example, I've told you it's possible for you to use t. So instead of using td, you can replace your td with th. It's still the same thing, it's still talking about columns. So whether you use td, you can also, whether you like, you can use td, whether you like, you can use th. But just know that tr is what referred to as the rows. But whenever you want to create a column, you can either use the td or the th. But in this example, you discover that in the first row they use th to create their column, and there are 2 columns. And the second row they use td to create their columns, and there are 2 columns. And the third rows they use td to create their column, and there are 2 columns. So let's run this code. Now there is border thickness of 1. They give it border thickness of 1. So let me refresh my web page now. So can you see, this is the first row, this is the second row, and this is the third row. But look at something, there is something you have to note here. In the first row, what did they use to create their column? There are 2 columns, the name and the salary. There are 2 columns. What they use to create this column? In the first row, they make use of th. So either you like, you can use th, or you can also use td, anyone you like. But in this example, they make use of th. These second rows, they make use of td. It's still the same thing. So whenever you want to create columns, you can either use th or you can make use of td. So like this row now, this second row now, I can try to create my column. Inside the second row, I can try to create my column with th. So if I save this now, it's still going to give me, I will still have the same. Let me refresh my web page. Can you see? I will still have the same thing. So I'm still going to have the same thing. So, but just note one thing. Each cell must, however, have either a td or a th element. So whenever you have a cell, I just say each rows must contain either th or a td element in order for the table to display correctly, or else the table will not display correctly. So whenever you are creating a row must always is compulsory, must always be associated with a column, and that column must either be td or a th. So the next thing we have is the cell spacing and the cell padding. There are 2 attributes. I've taught you an attribute under the table. I've taught you about border, and this is it. The border, I've told you about the border thickness. That is the boundary of a table, how you want it to be thick. So, but apart from the border attribute inside the table, there are some other attributes that you have to familiar yourself with in the table. And those attributes are the cell padding and the cell spacing. These are 2 attributes which you will use to adjust the white space in your table cell. So cell spacing defines the width of the border. The width of the border. What I mean by the width of the border is this border. Now the border you are seeing, this is cell border. So cell spacing define the width of this border to whatever you have, the contents. Right now it's because we didn't give it any cell padding, so that's why it used any cell spacing. That's why it used a default spacing. But when you give it a cell spacing now, you will have seen that is either the distance between this place and this salary, this distance that you are seeing. Look at the mouse. The distance is going to be wide. But because we didn't specify the cell spacing, that is how we are able to have the default like this. So that's about why cell padding represent the distance between cell border and the contents within it. So let's just run this example, so that with this example I'll be able to explain to you what we refer to as the cell padding as well as the cell spacing. So let's copy this. Let's go back to our FTP. So look at something now. We have how many rows now? One row, the second row, and the third row, and we have two columns inside them. So we gave it a cell padding of what? Of 5 and cell spacing of 5. But right now, so that we'll be able to know the difference between cell padding and cell spacing, let me just change this cell spacing to 15, so that you will see the difference of what I'm trying to talk about. One is 15 and the other one is 5. So let's refresh this web page. So right now, so the cell padding now, let me increase this cell padding, let me increase it to 50. Let me increase the cell padding to 15. So the distance between here to here is 50. That's what we refer to as the cell padding. The cell padding, like the definition, the cell padding represent the distance between cell border and the content within it. What we refer to as the cell padding is the distance between this cell border. This is a cell now. What you are seeing here is a cell. This is a cell. So the distance between this cell to the contents, this is the content, the naming here is the content. So the distance between this naming to this cell, the distance between this name to this cell is what we refer to as cell padding. That is, the distance between this name to this cell is what we refer to as cell padding, and the distance between salary to this cell is what we refer to as the word, the cell padding. And we gave it how many? We gave it 50, cell padding of 50. Why the border, the thickness, we gave it 1. That's why it's not that thick. The border is not that thick. So the next thing is the cell spacing. We gave the cell spacing 15. What we refer to as cell spacing from the definition, cell spacing defines the width of the border. The width of this border now, from here, when we talk about width, I believe you understand what width and height, what it means. The distance between this space and this space and this space is what we refer to as the cell spacing. That is the space between the cells. So the distance between here to here is what we refer to as the cell spacing, and we gave it how many? We gave it 15. So, but if we didn't use the cell padding and the cell spacing, you will discover that our table will not be this big, because there will not be anything between. There will not be a cell padding. Like right now, we have the distance between name and this one now is 50. We give it 50. That is the cell padding. As a distance, a cell padding is the distance between the contents and the cell. While a cell spacing is the distance between two cells. That is the distance between this one cells and this cell. That is the cell width. That's the cell spacing. So that's one of the attributes that you use in case, and this is just it is, if you want to structure your table, you want your table to come out beautiful and well stated, the best thing is for you to apply the attribute of cell padding and cell spacing, so that your table will not just look alike, it will be all that. So your table will be all that. So the best thing is for you to just know how to set the cell padding and the cell spacing. So another attribute that we have, but these attributes, the TD make use of these attributes, is the column span and the row span attributes. So you can use the column span attribute if you want to match two or more columns into a single column. Let's say you can use this column span attribute if you want to match two or more columns into a single column. Let's run this code now. So but just note, the row span and the column span are attributes of the column. Let's say they are the attribute of either TD or TH. They are the attribute of what? Of either TD or TH. Both the column span and the column span. So right now look at this example now. So let's talk about the first thing we are trying to talk about right now is the row span. Can you see this is the row span? You can see it's an attribute of TD, and we have the column span is also an attribute of TD. Let's copy this and run this code and see our output. Right now we have how many rows? We have 1 rows, and this is the second rows, and here we have the third row, and here we have the fourth row. So we have 4 rows in this table. So 1. So if you look at this table now, we have how many rows now? This is the first row, this is the second row, this is the third row, and this is the fourth row. We have 4 rows. But the only reason that this line that is coming like this now, the only reason it stopped here is because of there's an attribute we use that make it to stop here. And the reason that all these rows, the columns is not it does not divide the columns. That is this normally this should be 3 columns. This third row, this fourth row now should have 3 columns. But the reason is that this is just because of the attribute we apply. But let me just explain to you how we arrive at this step now. Look at the first row now. It has how many TH? It has 3 TH, making 3 rows. As in making 3 columns. I believe you understand that. Column 1, column 2, column 3. You get that. Then this is the second rows. This is the second row. So let me just arrange it very well. This is the second row. It has how many TD? This is the second row. Let me arrange it very well so that you see it. This is the second row. It has how many TD? It has 1, 2, 3. So it has 3 what? 3 TD. 1, 2, 3. That is, it has 3 columns. The second row has 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. Can you see? It has 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. But note one thing. The first row of that, as in the first column, I've told you that TD means column. The first column of the second row, let's say the first column of this second row, it has what? A row span 2. What do you refer to as row span 2? That is to say, it's going to take 2. This first column is going to take 2 rows. So it will match 2 rows together. That's the meaning. So if I set it to row span 3, it means it's going to match this row. This row is going to match it to the second row, and it's going to match it to the third row. So at the end of the day, all this place will just be a single cell. So right now you discover that normally this place now that row 1 cell 1, this place that this content that we are seeing now, this place that this row, the place they occupy now, is supposed to be 2 rows. But just because you use row span, that is why it matched that 2 rows together to give you a single what? To give you a single cell. Normally it's supposed to be 2 rows, but because you use a row span, that's a row span means match. We use row span 2 in this example. We use row span 2. It means what? Match 2 rows together. So since it has matched 2 rows together, then what do you have? You have what you have here in the first column now. the first column of this second row you have row span 2, while you have the second column and the third column, and that's why you have the second column and the third column. But note one thing, in the third row, this third row does not have first column again. It can't have first column again, because the first column of the second row has already matched the column of the third row. That's already merged it together with its own. So right now the row 3, this third row is going to have only 2 columns left, and that is why you see that in row 3, this row 3, how many columns do you have? In row 3, how many columns do you have? You only have 2 columns. Let me re-explain. In the first row we have how many columns? I've told you that whether TH, whether TD, they represent column. We have 3 columns. You understand that? 1, 2, 3, 3 columns, and the data inside it is what? The information is column 1, column 2, column 3. That's why you have column 1, column 2, column 3. You understand that? The second row has how many columns? It has 1, 2, 3 columns. But the first column, because you use row span, and remember when I was explaining, when I was defining what a row span means, row span means merging 2 rows together. Row span, you can see row span if you want to merge 2 or more rows together. If you want to merge 2 or more rows together. So whenever you want to merge 2 or more rows together, you make use of row span. Look at it now. Here now, in the first column of the second row, this is the second row. In the first column of the second row, they merge 2 rows. In the first column of the second row, we merge 2 rows together. So that means they merge the second row and the third row together. That's why you have a single cell here, because they use row span. So, and the other 2 columns, because it has to be 3 columns, the other 2 columns. But right now the third row now will not have first column again, because the first column of it has been merged with the first column of the second rows. The first column of the third row has been merged with the first column of the second row. So right now the third column will not have first column again. The third row will not have first column again. It will have 2 columns, and that is why you have 2 columns here. So the third row, the fourth row, which is the last row, they say it only has one column. Can you see? It only has 1 column. But how did they do it so that all these lines does not represent the make use of the column span? It means column span of what? Of 3. It means what? Match 3 columns together. Whenever you see row span, it means match something together, match a row together. So whatever value they give it, like they give it 2 now, it means match 2 rows together. If they give it 3, it means match 3 rows together. So like this column span now, it means match column together. So if they give it 3, it means match 3 columns together. Normally it's supposed to have 3 columns, but because they want to merge the 3 columns together, so that's why they ask it to merge what? They say match 3 columns together. They give it 3. But I can do something now. You guys use match 2 columns together, then that means it will only match the first 2 columns. So but this place supposed to be 3 columns. Normally 3 columns supposed to be in this last row, 3 columns supposed to be in the fourth row, 3 columns supposed to be there. So if I ask you to match 2 columns, together, then that means I have to put another TD there to make the third column. So right now I ask you to match 2 columns together, then, and I know that it's not only 2 columns that has to be in this fourth row. They are supposed to be 3 columns. So 2 plus 1 will give us 3. So I have to add another TD there. So let me just name this contents. Let me just put a day inside it. So you will see what I'm trying to explain now. So by the time you refresh this now, can you see? So it matched 2 columns together. Then the third column. Paste. That's just about the column span and the row span. So the next thing that we have is the table background. You can set table background using the following two ways. You can either use the BG color attribute. You can set background color for whole table or just for one cell using the BG color attribute, or you can use using the background attribute. You can set background image for whole table or just for one cell. So here is an example of using the BG attributes. So since we already have a table there, I don't need to waste my time. All I just need to do is I just want to teach you how to set background color. So these are the two ways in which you can set background color. So I will start with the BG attributes. So I've told you that a table has an attribute. Normally I've explained the various type of attributes. I've explained the various type of attributes that a table can have. It can either have border, the cell padding, the cell spacing. So another attribute that it can have is the BG color, and you use BG color to set the background color of a table. So let's see how this works. So I can decide to, since I already have a table here now, I don't need to waste my time. Then I will just add the attribute BG color. So this time around I have to give my the attribute. I have to give my attributes a value. So what value should I give it? Let me say orange. Orange. So you will see that the background of our table now will be orange. So can you see? So the background of my table now is what? Is orange. So if I want to change the background color to red, all I just need to do is I have to edit the BG color attributes. I have to edit the BG color attribute to what? To red. So this time around now my background color will be what? Will be red. So anytime you want to set the background color of your table, always make sure that you add BG attributes to your table, and you have to set a value for it. So that's just the about that. So another way that you can set background color is making use of background image. Since right now I make use of BG color because I want to set background color making use of color like red, blue, green, yellow, purple. But in case I have an image, maybe my picture, in case I have an image, so in case I have an image in my server www directory, in case I already have an image there, or maybe I have an image on my system that I want to use as a background picture of my table, then I can also do that. So one thing is this: the first thing is, if the image is on your system, the first thing is upload the image to your server. If it's, the image is on your system, upload the image to your server. That is, upload it to your www directory. But right now I don't need to upload my image to my www directory because I already have an image in my www directory. So I will just go to my image I have in my www directory is 10.jpg. So I already have an image that I want to use as my background picture. But if you don't have the image you want to use in your www directory, then you can upload it from your system or from your mobile devices, depending on the devices that you are using to access your www directory. But since I already have my image that I want to use as my background, so this time around, instead of using a BG color, because if you use BG color, you can always specify the value as red, blue, green. But in case you want to use a background image, then you don't need to use the attribute BG color. If you want to use the background image, then what you use now is you make use of the attributes, make use of the attribute background. So you make use of the attribute background equals to, so the value, so the background, then the value. What's the name of the image that you want to use as a background image for your table? And the image is what? Since I already have it on my server, it's 10.jpg. But if you don't have it already present in your www directory, all you need to do is upload the image that you want to use to your www directory and know the file name, the name of the picture. Then you put the name of the picture when as in the attribute of background.10.jpg. So right now, if I save it now, so this time around I'm not trying to use BG color, I'm trying to use a background image. So you set it as an attribute of background. So by the time you refresh your web page now, then can you see the picture is there? The picture is there. You can view the background image. So if I said view background image, can you see it's already there? It's just because this picture is very, very big. 10.jpg, this is 10.jpg. View. Let me view background image. Can you see 10.jpg? The picture is there, but the reason you are not seeing it is just because of the picture is very, very big. So any picture you want to use for your table, make sure you already resize it using maybe all these resize tools. So when you resize the picture, then you now upload it to your www directory and you will use it in your background. But assuming I have a small picture that I want to use now and I use it, then the picture should display well, but the picture is already here. But just because the picture is very, very big, so that's why you are unable to see the visibility parts for it. So that's just about the background attribute. So another attribute that the table has apart from BG or the background is the width and height. You can set the width and height using the width and height attribute. You can specify the table width and height in terms of integer value or in terms of percentage of available screen area. So let's use the width and height attributes. So since I already have a table, I don't need to start running this code, but if you like, you can run this code. But since I already have a table, all I just need to do is add the attributes width and height to it. So I say width is 400 and the height is 150. So that's another attribute. So to increase the height or the width of your table, then you can you see that's increased. So I can decide to, if you didn't see it very well, the changes. So I can decide to change it to, instead of 400, I can change this to 1000, and I can change this to, I can change it to 600, so that you will see the changes. Can you see? Can you see that the picture has displayed now? So just because the picture is very, very big, so and your table is very, very small, so the picture cannot appear in your table. That's why we are not seeing it before. But you see that right now that we now change the size using the width and height attributes. Right now that we change the size of our table, you can see that our picture is displaying little by little. So if I increase this height and width now, let me increase this width to 2000 and let me increase the height to 15. I believe our background image 10.jpg should show more. But this is not the best way for you to insert background image. The best thing is for you to first resize the image you want to use as your background, as your table background image, before you upload it to your www directory and before you use it. Because if you use all this big image, then there may be a problem. So what I was trying to say right now is that if you use the width 2000 and the height 2000 to height 15, so our background image 10.jpg should show. Can you see now? And we are able to see the background image. So it's not only the table tag does not have only border attribute, it has a lot of attributes, and we have talked about some of them. We have talked about the cells, the cell spacing, the cell padding, the border, the image, the width, the height, the BG color, the background. And another thing that I want to talk about right now, since you have already gotten the width and height, so the width and height is just for you to set the width and height of your table. You can reset it. But another thing that we have is using the table caption. The caption tag will serve as a title or as explanation and show up at the top of your table. This tag is deprecated in newer version of HTML. So you can make use of the caption, table caption. So this is just to name your okay, let's try it so that you understand what I'm trying to say. Let's try the table caption. Since I already have a table, so I don't need to start wasting my time copying this and pasting this code. So what I'll just do is this: before my first here, I'll use a table caption. Then I'll just say this table is an example of HTML table. This table is an example of HTML table. So right now I'm using a caption of that this table is an example of HTML table. So if you save this now, let's save this and refresh our web page to see our changes. So let's refresh the web page. So can you see now, this table is an example of, so this caption, the use of caption, it serves as a title for our table. It serves as the explanation of what that table, what the uses of that table. That's what caption, that's what it did. So anytime you make use of caption in your table, before you use caption before the first row, let's say before you specify the first TR, you make use of caption, and that caption you use it anytime you want to use it. It's not as if you didn't use the caption, it's not as if your table will not work. But the reason you use that and the caption is just for you to describe what that table does. Maybe the table is showing the list of registered member of a particular thing, or maybe it's showing an information containing maybe doc or something like that. You have to explain using caption. You have to tell them what that table you are trying to create, what is used for, and that's the meaning of caption. It just serves as a title, an explanation of your table. Then another thing that we have, another attribute that we have is using a header, body and footer for our table. Table can be divided into 3 portions: a header, a body and a foot. The head and foot are rather similar to headers and footer in a word process document that remain the same for every page. What we are trying to say is this: when you open your Microsoft Word, when you open your Microsoft Word, you discover that you can go to under the page layout. You can choose the head, you can create the head and the foot. So you can go to under insert in your Microsoft Word, you will see the head. Can you see? Anything you type here now, it's going to be denoted as your head. So whenever you are entering any page, irrespective of whatever page you are entering, this header will always be displaying. And also you can set value for footer. You can set the value for footer. Footer is just what to be written down below here. So the same thing applies, the same thing that applies to this word processor also applies to the table. So a table can be divided into 3 portions: the header, a body and a footer. So these 3 elements for separating the head, body and foot of a table are the T head, the T body and the T foot. So that means every table you can also specify, it's not compulsory, but in case you want to use it, you can also specify a table to have a head, a body and a foot. But note, the head and the body that you are seeing here is very different from the normal HTML head and body. This one is just used a table head. That's why we use T head and T body and T foot. So let's run this code and see what's so let's copy this and let's go to so let's run it. So now look at it, we have a table now, and this table we divide it into how many sections? We divide it into the head, T head, we divide it into T head, T foot and T body. So that means our table is divided into what? The T head, the T body and the T foot, like what I explained to you that it is possible. It's not every time, you don't have to use it, it's not compulsory, but whenever you want to divide your table into 3 segments, then you make use of the T head, T body and the T foot. So let's say these are run it and see what our outputs, what we have as an output. So let's refresh our web page. Now see, this is the head, this is the foot and this is the body. But note one thing, normally we have the T head, then the next thing that we have after the T head is what? T foot. Then we normally the first row is what? Is the head, it is T head, which is true. The first row is the T head. That's why we said this is the head of the table. The first plate is the T head. Can I say this is the head of the table? But the second row should be supposed to be the second row supposed to be the T foot, and it should have the content. This is the foot of the table. But if you look at this now, you discover that the second row is not the T foot. Why? Normally, assuming we use TR, we didn't use the T body and T foot. Normally, when you have the first TR, it will display. Then the next rows will now be the second TR. But this example is different, because irrespective of wherever you place your T foot, even if I decide to cut this T foot here and I decide to place it up top here, my T foot is not going to be the first to display, because the system is going to jump this. When the table, normally the table is supposed to be reading it. The first TR, it will name it as the first row. The second TR, it will name it as the second row. The third TR, it will name it as the third row, like that. But whenever you place all these things in segments, they are always different. But even though you start with T foot, by the time you receive this and we run our output, the T foot will not be the first to display, the first row to display. It will not be the first. Why? Because the system will see that this is the table foot. So even though we place it up here, it's still going to, by the time we run our code, it's still going to come to the down. It's still going to come down to the last, because it's the foot. So however you want to, like now, normally the first table that we did, whatever rows that we want to put in the top, then we start with the TR. But this example is different. If you use T foot, irrespective of wherever you place your T foot, that T foot will be what we display at the end, at the last of your page. While the T edge, irrespective of wherever the T edge is inside the table, is what we display as the first of your page. So right now, our T edge, it has how many rows? It has just one rows. Our T edge has just one rows. And how many column? It has just single column. And what is the content? This is the head of the table, and this is what you have: one row and one column, and you have this head of the table. So for table, after T head, what remains is the next thing is the T body. After head, there is body. Then the last one is the foot. So what will happen is, if you run this code now, by the time the interpreter is trying to read this program, by the time you run it in your Firefox or any other browser, the browser is going to jump the T foot, because T foot cannot start. It's just going to run the T head to display the contents, then later to run the T body, and to now come back to the T foot. But if we didn't use this three category, if we didn't use the T foot, T head and T body, automatically anything that the browser see, the first TR that the browser see, the browser will see it as the first row, and any other TR that is there, to see it as the second row, like that. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, if we didn't use this T foot, T head and the T body, rows, the TR that comes first will be the first row, the TR that comes second will be the second row, the TR that comes third will be the third row, and like that. But whenever you use the T foot, the T head and T body, T head will be the first one, irrespective of wherever you place it. Even if you place it at the last of the source code, if you place it at the last line of the source code, the T head will still be where we display first, before the T body, and the last one will not, the later one will not be the T foot. So that's just about the categorizing. So another thing I will talk about is the nested table. You can use one table inside another table. Whenever you use a table inside another table, is what referred to as the nested table. And not only tables, you can use almost all the tag inside the table data tag, that is the TD. So right now you will see that normally we start a table now, the table, then later here now we also start another table. So that means we are using a table inside another table. Then that's what we refer to as what? A nested table. A nested table is a situation whereby we are using a table inside another table. Like now, this is our table, but we are using another table, we place another table inside this table. So that means, how many tables are we going to have now? We have two tables. This table now is placed inside this one. So that means this one has to first close, the table here has to first close before this one is closed. So let's see, maybe we are right. Can you see? One table is closed here, then the other table is closed here. So let's copy this code and run it. So this is nested table. Nested table is just usual that you have one table in another table. So let's copy it. Let's paste it. So look at it now. We have a table, and inside this table we have another table. So let's save this and refresh our web page so that we will see the changes. Can you see now? This table now, this is the first table, and inside this table what we have another table here. Can you see? We have another table here. So we have two tables now. This is what we refer to as a nested table. So let me try to explain to you. Normally we have a table, the first table now, this table now that we are seeing now, the first table, its first row, the first table, its first row. So right now the first row and the first column. So inside the first row and the first column is where our second table is. The first row and the first column. This is the first row and the first column. So that is where this other table is. So inside the first row and the first column is where our table is. So let's not talk about the second table now. Then we just know that inside the first row and the first column of the first table is where our second table is. So let's not talk about the second table now. So after the second table, after its end, you can see the first row and the first column. So is where our table is. So, and this is the second column of the first row. The second column of the first row ends here, and that is why we have, this is another cell, this is another cell, and we also have using list inside this cell. Everything is inside the second column of the first row. So note, there in our first table there is how many rows? Our first table has TR ends here, first row, and another TR start here, and it's a second row. So that means our first table has ordinary 2 rows, and this is row 1 and this is row 2. We are right. So our first table have 2 rows. So inside the first row there are how many columns? TD first one and TD second one. So inside the first row there are 2 columns. Is that true? This is first row and there are 2 columns. So the first column, what content is inside it? The first column, what content is inside it? We have another table inside it. That's the content that is inside the first column. So inside this first column now, another table is inside it. We are right. And inside the second column, we have an underlisted. So that's where we talk about the UL. But in the next tutorial, we are still going to talk a lot about underlist. That's UL and the list LI. So it's because of this list that we use that you will discover that when we write the content, this is another cell. When you see this another cell here, you will see this symbol. This symbol, like something like a dot, is what we refer to as list. So when you place any content inside the list tag, then you are inside the LI tag, then you are going to have this kind of symbol. So that means inside the second column of the first row, then we have this content, and the second column, the second row, the first column, you have row 2 column 1, and that is what we have here. And the second column, in the second row, the second column, you have row 2 column 2, and that is it. So right now you know that our first table is divided into what? 2 rows and 2 columns. The first row has 2 columns, the second row also has 2 columns. So in the first row, first column of the first table, we have another table. And let's look at the property of that table. That table has 3 rows, 3 TR. Is that true? 1, 2, 3. Yes. And the first row has how many columns? It has 2 columns. I've told you that it can use TD or TH. Another thing you can use, another tag you can use for the column is TD, and you can also use TH. So the first column of that first row is name, and the second column is salary, name and salary. Of the second row, the first column is Ramesh Ram, and the second, the first column is Ramesh Rayam of the second row, and the second column of the second row is 5,000. Is that true? It's true. Then for the third row, the first column is Sabia Hussein and the second column is 7,000. Is that true? It is true. So, and each of every one of them has a border thickness of 1. So you can input the cell padding, the cell spacing, the width, the height, the BG color, the BG, the background, any other properties of a table, that is any other attributes of the tables. So what we just refer to as nested table is you having a table inside another table. So another thing that we are going to talk about is the HTML color. Color are very, very important, and I believe I've already explained a little bit about color in the previous tutorial, in the previous ebook. Just know one thing: you can specify color on page level using the body tag, or you can set color for individual tags. So what we are trying to talk about now is the HTML color coding method. There are following 3 different methods to set color in your web page. The first method is the color name. I believe I've already explained this in the previous PDF. That example is, for example, now when you have a particular text, I miss you. You have this text, I miss you now, and you want to set a color. I've told you that there is a tag for setting color, and that tag is fonts. So font has 3 attributes. It can either be size, it can either be color or face. So right now it's color that we want to set now, because we are talking about color, HTML color, and the first example is what is using the color names. So the color name can either be blue, red, green, orange, purple. If you know the color name of that, I believe I've already explained this in the previous PDF, but I will still explain. There are 3 ways in which you can add color to your web page. The first way is the color name. The second method is the hex codes, and the third method is the color decimal or percentage value. So we are going to start with the color names, and that example is what I'm trying to show you here. When you write I miss you now, you want to give this I miss you the color of red. All you need to do is font, color. Color is an attribute in fonts. You can't just say ordinary. Color is not a tag, so you can't say color. It's not possible. You can't say color. There's nothing like color. It's not a tag in HTML. So, but font, it has 3 attributes. It has color, it has size, and it has face. But right now we are talking about color, so we are going to use ordinary color. Color what? I said red. I want to give I miss you color red. But note, any tag that has opening tag must also have what? A closing tag. So I have to close font. You are not going to close color, because color is an attribute. An attribute will always have a value, and that's why you see color has value of red. The tag name is font. The tag that has this attribute color, is font. So you have to close that tag font. So if you run this now, you will discover that our content I miss you, it will have a color of red. So let's refresh it. It will have a color of red. Can you see? So this is using color name. Instead of red, I can decide to change this to orange. So if you know the name of a color that you want to use, then you can use it directly. So that is using color name. Then the second, orange. Can you see this is orange? Then the second method of giving color to your web page is using the hex code. Hex code is a 6-digit code representing the amount of red, the green, and blue that makes up of the color. Right now, if I want to give a color, let's say I want to give a color red. If I want to give a color red now, color red, I can decide to use color name and say color red. But I can decide to find the hex code of color red and still put it here. Instead of saying red directly, I can just find the color code. But just know that hexadecimal color code, that is the hex color code, always starts with hash. Have it at the back of your mind. Whenever you are talking about the hex code, hex color code always starts with what? Always starts with hash. So all these color name, red, blue, green, orange, any color name, all these color names, they also has the equivalent hex code name. It's just for you to know that okay, this color I want to use orange. If you know the color name, you can just apply the color name directly. No need of trying to crack your brain of the S code. But there are times that you may not know the name, the color you want to use, and you may be able to specify. Let's look at S code now. We have some S code inside this PDF. These are S code. Can you see? This is black. These are different S code. So if I want to give a particular color, my test, this color, let's say I want to give you this test, this color now, what will I do? I will just look for the color code. I don't know the color, I don't know the name of this color now. I don't know the name, but if I know his name, if it's, let's say it's pink, I can just write pink. I can just write pink here to give it pink. But since I don't know the name, all I just need to do is look at his S code. What is the S code? 4399. But I've told the S code will always start with what? Hash. Don't just write what you see here, that 333399. Don't just write it. It has to start with hash. Hash 333393. Abi? Am I right? 333399. Sorry, it's 99, not 99. So if you save this, by the time you refresh, you discover that your test, I miss you, we have the same color as the color you are seeing here presently. So by the time I refresh it now, can you see this color now is the same thing as what is here. Just know that S code always starts with hash. Always starts with what? Always starts with hash and the name of the color code. So that's just it. So there are a lot of color codes here that you can choose from. A lot of them are there. So in this PDF, so you don't need to be cracking your brain that what's the name of this color. Like me now, if I want to give something a color, if I don't know maybe the kind of color that will be suitable, maybe it's orange, pink, if I don't know the color name, it's possible I may not know the color name. All I just need to do is come to this PDF. I'll just be looking at all those colors, and whenever I see the one I want to use, let's say I see that this color is very beautiful, even though I don't know the color name. If I know the color name, let's say for example I see this color now, that this color is very beautiful. If I can recognize this color, that this color is yellow, then I will just use yellow directly as the color name. But if it's possible, like now I don't know the color of I don't know the name of this color, so I can't just say yellow, green, I can't say blue because I don't know the name. Then what will I do? I will just use this S color 99FF33. It's now the hash 99FF33. So right now this color is going to give me an equivalent color of what I'm seeing here. It's going to give me an equivalent color to it. So if I refresh my web page now, I'm going to have an equivalent color to it. Guys, I miss you. So I'm going to have equivalent color as TB3. So I'm going to have an 99FF33. Can you see this color now is the same color that is here? So what I'm just trying to say in essence is that if you don't know the color name, like red, yellow, blue, green, black, purple, orange, if you don't know the color name, the best thing for you to do is just look at this PDF. You'll be able to see a lot of colors there. Then whenever you see the one that suits the kind of color you wish to use, even though you don't know the name, but whenever you see the one that suits your color, just add hash. Let's say this one is the one that suits your color, then you will use the color what? Hash CC33FF. Even though you don't know the name of the color, but since you have seen it, you have seen the color, this is the color I feel like using. I don't know the name, but I can just use it. But as soon as you know the name, let's say the name is purple for example, I will just use purple directly. I will use the color name because I know the name. But in case I don't know the name, I will just look at this S color code, then I will just say okay, hash CC33FF. So that's all about. So we have a lot of S code in this material that you can make use of. But in case you have, that's why we say you should make sure that you use hash sign as previous for any hexadecimal color code you choose between above. You choose above, e.g. 00cc00 should be used as hash. After you have to add hash to it. Any color code that you want to use, you have to add hash to it. But in case the color the S code you are looking for is not present in this PDF, you can search Google on list of HTML hexadecimal color code. Then Google will be able to give you a lot of S code, as in a lot of S code that you can make use of in your HTML. So, and the last method, I've talked about the color name, I've talked about the S code. Then the last one we have is the color decimal or the percentage value. This value is specified using the RGB property. Now we will see this coloring scheme one by one. So using the, normally I've talked about the color in the S code. Now we are talking about the color decimal or the percentage value. You can also use this method to give your text, as in you can also use this method to give your HTML color. So example is this. Right now you can use the color name and say red. I can use the color name that red. If I don't want to use the color name red, I can look for the hexadecimal code for red. It will just be hash something. You can look at you can look at it here. Red. I think this is red. So red should be CC #CC 00000. So is it that I say red? Is it that I use the color name red, or is it that I use the color name red, or I use #CC 0000? It will still give me red. Or the last method is you making use of the decimal, decimal, color decimal or percentage value. That's the other method. So if I want to give something red now, I'll just use RGB this. I'll just use this. So you discover that our text is so this is just the decimal color. So this is another method in which you can use, but for you to we just name some of them here. So the best thing for you to do is, whenever you want to give your HTML page, you want to give it a color decimal or percentage value, you can search Google. So I can just say HTML percentage color value for orange. I can just say HTML percentage color value for orange. So I can search this HTML percentage color value for orange. So I should have the color value. So you can just search, you can open all this PDF on this PDF, then you should be able to have the percentage value for orange using this PDF. But like the one I have right now, without opening, the one I have right now is if I need something on midnight blue, then if I use, let's use this now. Let's use this S code. As in this, I said S code. S code will start with hash, but this is a percentage color value. Let's use this color. So just don't forget, in case you want to be using, can you see this color? Can you see this color? So it's all referred to as the new midnight blue. This color is what we call the new midnight blue. So what I was trying to say in essence is that there are three ways in which you can give your HTML color. The color name using like red, green, blue, all this name. The S code using hash, then 6-digit code. So all this red, blue, green that you have in the color name here, they also have a hexadecimal equivalent code. So instead of saying yes, you're red now, instead of saying white, you can say white. And if you still want to give another, and if you also want to give that same thing white color, instead of saying white, you can still say hash FFFFFF. Hash FFFFFF still means white, while hash 000000 means black. So it's either I say black or I say hash 00000, it still means black. So each of these color name also have an S code. So with these charts, all these charts now, you can be able to see various list of S code, and you can choose from anyone that you want there. And if you didn't see the S code you are looking for, then you can search Google. Then the last one is the color decimal or the percentage value, and that's when you make use of the RGB property. So we listed some color decimal and percentage value, the RGB value. We listed it in this video, but in case the color we just list like it's not even up to 10, black, red, it's not even up to 10. But in case the one you are looking for is not here, please, you can just search Google on HTML percentage color value for whatever name of the color. You can say it's orange, you can say blue, any color that you are looking for. Then you just use the RGB value directly as we specify it here. So thank you so much.